guys. Old man Chris here again. I think it's been about a week since I put anything on the old tube. Been a mixture of fortunes, time constraints, but also the old back and hip have been giving me hell, which is always annoying because I can't spend that long out here, and I know before long it's going to be frozen nuts time. But anyway, I'm sitting on my stool now, so I'm not too bad. So quite a few days have gone by, and I haven't really done much on this new project, which is the backplate for the new chuck. I mentioned, I think, I'm doing this in front of the clips. I think I mentioned my buddy Lawrence Harrison sent me a backplate, which I think is absolutely ideal, and it's got to be bored out and threaded. So that's what we're starting on, and I think there's only a couple or so clips, but as it's been so long I thought I'd put this up as a part one really. Part two, I don't know, could be spread over days again, it depends what time I can get out here. Oh, I know, another thing is I was really surprised, I hadn't realised, maybe a week ago I noticed that I was over 5,000 subscribers. Hey, 5,000? Oh, holy smokes. I mean, I'm still small fry, I've said this before, I'm not the Adam Booth and Tom Lipton category. I'm down the bottom end, but even so, 5,000. My golly, chaps. There's an English bit for you. Hello, chaps. No, thanks to everybody. I suppose I don't know why you follow me, but I guess you find something in it. And I really appreciate it. Fantastic. And I also noticed I was watching outside Screwball Chuck, and he's put up his number 36, Screwy Tuesday, I think he calls it. Well, I've never numbered my videos, and when I went back and checked, I realised that my prolific, if not excessive output must be approaching 200 in the engineering field. I mean, I put all sorts of junk on eBay years and years ago, but over the last 2 to 3 years I've been putting on the machining type stuff, and guessing a bit without checking back, it's probably about 200. Some of the early ones were pretty atrocious too. I suppose I was experimenting a bit, and hopefully over time we've got a little bit better. So what else did I want to mention? I did make a couple of notes here. Oh yes, in the last clip, I think, yes, the last clip, I did just refer to screwing up some tool grinding. Oh dear, oh dear. Some little 1/4 inch tool steel, 1/4 inch square. I got one ground up for the boring bar for doing the ID, just the basic cut. But the thread form, which is, I think I've mentioned more than once, it's 6 TPI 1 3/4 inch, and it's fairly critical. And I worked out that I need 0.84 to cut the thread, because 6 TPI, that works out at thread to thread 0.166 something, and I think the 0.084 is something I worked out that would be just right for clearance, although in fact on the lathe spindle the thread is a little undersized, maybe due to wear, I suppose, a little bit. But anyway, yes, I went, on the first attempt I went minus by 5 thou, I think, because I checked the tip measurement badly and got the vernier onto a slight plus spot just behind it, so I read a wrong reading. And the second one I took great care and measured the cutting face, got down to about, oh, I know, 900.9, no, sorry. No, it must have been, what am I looking at? 084. Yes, I got down to 090. Get it right in a minute. I was down to about 090. I thought, right, take it easy. Little bit at a time. Grind and check, grind and check. And somehow I must have given a bit too much pressure on the wheel. Next thing I knew is I was about 2 or 3 thou under size. Oh! Never mind. Hopefully third time lucky when I get round to it. And what else? There's one other thing I was going to mention. Oh yes. Randy Richards showed one of his designs for a punch, because he's making some for What's in Your Box. Very nice too. He told me what he was using. He'd got a free version of some CAD. Autodesk something, was it? Anyway, I did a look around. I couldn't really find quite what he was referring to. Somebody then mentioned something 360. Forget who it was. Did another look around. I think that one was a web-based CAD. Anyway, a bit more digging, and I found FreeCAD, which is open source. By the time it's expanded and installed, it's about 450 meg on disk, so it's quite significant. So having not been in the shop so much, I've been playing with it, and well, at the end of this video I'll just put in a pic of my first attempt. It was actually a copy of something that I watched on a tutorial. Very useful though to work out the various techniques, because I got out of practice with CAD. Good heavens. I used AutoCAD back in the late 90s, I think. That was on Windows 3.1. It's that long ago. Anyway, FreeCAD seems pretty good. It's not perfect, but I'll tell you what, I mean, it's pretty darn good for what it is. I mean, AutoCAD's what, $2,500. So anyway, that's pretty good. I shall continue practice on that. And as I say, I'll put in a pic of the pulley that I came up with. I was fairly pleased with it. That isn't perfect, but I shall continue practice. And maybe I can compete with Randy Richard with the odd CAD pic here and there. Alright, anyway, here come just a couple of clips, I think, just to start off on this backplate thing. Sorry about the ramble, which is usual. And I'll hope to get on with part 2 fairly soon. I'm itching to get this new chuck in use, but I've got to be ever so careful to get this backplate just right. Once I've got the bore finished and threaded, and then a very light face-off on the back section, the boss section, shall we say, get that as really perfect as I can get it, turn it round, put it on the spindle, and finish the other surfaces. Then, probably the most awkward bit in some ways, although I've got the coordinates for the hole pattern, is getting it set up in the middle to get the hole pattern just right. Anyway, that's it. Enough listening to this dribble. And I'll hope to see you soon, guys. Well, the time's come to get something done about the backplate for my new Bison chuck. This backplate came from Lawrence Harrison, who sort of owed me a favour, I suppose, and he dug this out very kindly. And I only just got it a day or two ago. So I'm trying to get it set up here. I did very lightly polish this part of the bore. It's not bad, but there's a little, you see, you may or may not see the dial gauge. This is the metric one, and we've actually, leaving aside the little hiccup, we're actually good to about 1 thou, which is about the best I can manage on that. and this way I've got that now that's within about 2 thou. The important thing, of course, is to get the ball right and get the thread done. Then we can put this on the spindle directly and do the rest of the machining, which then will be in truth with the spindle. So this is pretty close as I can practically get. What we've got to do, and I don't suppose you'll see much on here, I haven't got any fancy CAD drawings. I just did a dimensioning of the spindle back here, a few other notes, and I think I showed you these before. About 24 years ago I made this pair. This is an adapter to go on my spindle to take a small Myford chuck. Hardly ever use it, but oh, and also this enables me to use my faceplate. That's the other thing. So we got this big chunk with the dummy thread on, 6 TPI, 1 3/4 nominal diameter, and what we have there is a rear portion there which is quite important. We've got to, that equates to this area, and that engages over the spindle behind the threads. This is 1 3/4, and we've got to try and make the bore in here for that section about plus ½ thou. Then we've got 4 turns, nominally 4 turns of thread, and a little bit of machined area up in front. Now I've got to, I think I shared these before, but this dummy male gives me a chance to make a check when I'm threading, and I've yet got to make the cutting tool. I had a dig through a lot of old cutters that have been in boring bars, or a boring bar. It's probably too much to expect I could find the old one. So I've got to turn a tool to 840, which is just plus on the theoretical space. The plus that you need to have the thread working smoothly. And finally, when everything's back on the spindle, it locks up on the shoulder at the back. Right, so I've got to do some tool grinding and get something set up for that. Bore this out, the initial part. Well, we've got to get rid of all that thread in there. So it's quite a lot to do. Well, this is many days later. A lot of time constraints and delays and stuff. This is the largest boring bar I've got. In fact, I don't think I can get much bigger, even though this is an XL holder. Anyway, I had to grind up a bit of tooling for it, and I won't bother you with much of this, but I'm just turning out the 1.5 inch thread that was in there. Once that's all gone, we've got to take this area down to 1.755 ideally, and that'll be about a 1/4 inch deep. I forget, I've got to check it. Once I get that down to size, then I can start the threading operation. I'll probably tell you something about that in the intro I'm going to put on here, and I'll probably close this video because I know this is going to be a bitty job, bits and pieces. Anyway, let's take another cut or two in there. Right, we're down to uniformity there. So, as I say, I'm just checking here, the pocket, going by this piece, we're looking at about 1/4 inch or thereabouts, which is clearance for the step on the back here. So when I can get to it, I shall prep this first part, get that to, as I say, 1755 or thereabouts, and then we'll set about, I'll have to turn down to the major diameter in here after that, and then we'll do some threading hopefully. Alright, so I think that's going to be it for now. I didn't think this was going to be a parts 1 and 2 and whatever, but I think it is, because it's going to be so bitty. Oh, by the way, I did refer to some tool grinding with regards to threads, didn't I, just now? This overhead light might be giving some funny light, and I don't know whether you're going to be able to see these. This is what I'm preparing for threading. Believe it or not, I took each one down to undersize. What a total pain in the rear. Long job grinding. The actual profile, this one's funny because it had a previous grind too. I've got all the relief necessary, heading for a 0.084, and in both cases I went just too far. It's always critical grinding for a square thread, trying to get exactly the size. I've done it before, but I screwed up on both of these, so I'm going to have to make a third one before I can thread this. Anyway, that's it for the moment. I'm just staying in touch with you. I haven't died yet. So I'll say thanks for watching, and I'll hope to get a part 2 out in the not too distant future. Bye for now. Hey, I'm too lazy to set up screen grab stuff. I'm trying to just video this. We'll see if it works. This is the old pulley here. Quite a few nice challenges there, particularly getting all the constraints sorted for some of the shapes. But so far, quite pleased with the old software as open source. A lot more practice needed. There you go.